Okay.
Thank you.
And I'll send the other video also, Amy.
Thank you.
They'll have more detail. So here's what we're going to think about. We want to think about, are we all doing what we want others to do? So when you go to a party, let's get started. Let's go back and let's all become brand new chocolatiers. Like Jen said, it's a brand new sales year. This is the week. You don't start planning the sales year, as we all know, on July 1st. You start planning the new sales year now. Why do so many people miss consistency? They don't think about it till they get home from conference, and then it's July 25th and they can't do anything about it.
Excuse me.
So we're going to think about our sales year. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want your business to look like? So get in your head right now, what do you want your business to look like on June 30th of 2017? I want you to, if you could, I want you to get a visual in your head. It's June 30th, 2017. You're having a celebration meeting with your team. What is that team? What does it look like? Ricky, what does yours look like?
What does it look like?
Yeah, I want you to go in your head. What is it? You're having a celebration meeting? See, I've got a visual immediately. What does it look like?
I don't know. I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Mine has actual people in person and not just on the computer.
Okay. How many people are in the room, Jen?
12.
Okay. What do their faces look like?
They're actually smiling.
Okay. What does your face look like?
Well, I'm
Cheshire cat.
Okay. Hey,
What'd you say?
A Cheshire cat, grinning ear to ear.
So, Jen, if you were to do it today, what would your room look like?
It would be 2 computer screens.
Okay. So that means to get 12 people in your room next year, that means you've probably got to recruit no less than 3 a month, because probably 1 in 3 might show up. Right? So that gives you something that you've got to get excited about and hold on to. Now it's personal sales performance time, and we're recognizing you for your personal sales performance for 2016, 2017 year. What are you being recognized for?
I'm number 9 in the company.
Okay, number 9 in the company, you can't plan to be number 9. How much did you sell to be number 9?
$100 more than number 10. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
I love you, Jen.
I think I would say probably 32,000.
Is that what you think it's going to take this year to be there?
No, I don't think it's going to take that much to be there. I've run some numbers.
Okay. You might want, did you increase it by at least 30%, the number?
No.
You need to increase it by 30%. Whatever you think this year's number is, next year's number needs to be at least 30%. I usually go 50% when I'm wanting a number position. Because you don't know what the future is going to bring. But if you increase your sales this year by 50%, you're going to be happy regardless of where you fall, because your paycheck is going to be exciting.
So then you don't believe that I can go back and do past numbers?
No.
Okay.
I think you can take past numbers and
Say that again.
I think you take past numbers and increase them by 30 to 50%. So let's say if I want to be number 1 in the company in personal volume, and this year the number 1's going to sell, I don't know if it's 50,000 or 100,000.
Well, I don't think it's fair to say the number 1, because I think you got to go 5 to 10, because I think those are honest numbers, to be honest.
Well, they're all honest numbers. They all went through the computer. So
you're not catching what I'm saying. Move on. That's fine. I think our 5 to 10 are our actual party only people.
That's not what I'm saying. I am saying if I want to be number 1, no matter how I do my business, doesn't matter. If I want to be number 1 holding parties, I can be number 1 holding parties. You trust me, I can do it. I may have to hold a lot more parties than anyone's ever dreamed of, but by golly, I can do it. No one's going to tell me. Look, Tupperware didn't have a fundraising program, ladies, and there was a lady that everybody got pissed off because she was going out and getting $12,000 fundraisers and turning them in, and we were holding parties. And she got recognized for being number 1. It's just the way it is. A fundraiser is no different than a party. It's still what it is. So what I'm saying is, if you want a number, and I didn't say your number had to be number 1. I'm saying if I chose to be it, And this year for easy math, number one sold 100,000. I would set my goal to sell 130 to 150 next year, assuming the number one's position's gonna move upward, is all I'm saying. So if between number 5 and 10 is 30 to 50,000, I would take 50,000 and say I want to add a third to half of that. So I'm going to shoot to sell $70,000 this month or this year. I think that's what it would take. That's all my point is. It's not about what number you want to be.
I was just going with 7 years ago, I sold 27,000 and I was 7th in the company. So in 7 years, it hasn't gone up by 20,000. That's what I was asking.
Okay, I'm trying to not set you up for disappointment. And I want you to get a big enough jump that your paycheck satisfies you. You've got to know what your paycheck's going to do. So we've got to change things. So let's start with how are we going to change filling our room with recruits, right? How are we going to get them to engage from the start? If each of you think back to your first 90 days in the business, and I know our quick start, probably wasn't even a quick start program, but if you would have had our quick start program when you started, wouldn't each of you say you would have busted out every level, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're
That's
exactly why you're here today. So it's all about the first 45 to 90 days. Otherwise, you may get belongers and hanger-oners, but the people that are going to grow your business, and there's of course exceptions to every rule, but the people that are going to grow your business are the people that are going to perform between their first 45 and 90 days in a big way. So the expectation has to be set that they do that. So when you get to a Cocoa Chat, you need to be prepared to set that expectation. My little calendar up. So I get to my Cocoa Chat. When I go in, all of you know if you've heard me talk much, I believe in this is my recruiting folder. It looks exactly like a host packet. Why? Because if I'm going to recruit you, I need a host packet to host coach you for your launch because we're setting it right then. If I host coach you, I'm going to have my recruiting information in here because I'm going to Cocoa Chat with you because I believe every host should hear the facts. They've already got the first step of the business taken. They've already got a party date set. So there's not one stinking difference between my host pack and my recruiting pack. I walk in with the exact same thing. Now, I may not, if I'm going in to do a Cocoa Chat, I'm not going to necessarily pull everything out of there. I'm going to pull out the recruiting information to start. I'm going to have it with me. Trying to find my calendar. So I go through the Cocoa Chat and I want you to take some notes and say, am I doing this? Because it starts from your very first sentence in your Cocoa Chat is where you start setting expectations. So I had an aha. This came out of my mouth yesterday. I thought about this before, but it came out of my mouth yesterday. I think Cocoa Chat's the worst word in the world. I've decided because people think it's chatting about chocolate and it's not. If you say you want a Cocoa Chat with me, some people look at you and have like 4 eyes when you like start talking about the business because they thought you were going to chat about chocolate. Don't you agree? Ricky's laughing. I'm thinking you're kind of agreeing.
I never thought about it because that's just what we've been called. Somebody's told us to call it. So in our head, we know what it is. But now that you say that, I don't know. I don't think I would ever set up a Cocoa Chat without knowing that. You know what I mean? I think they know because we've made that.
Well, let me tell you, I think your people know, but let me tell you, I can tell you that your chocolatiers think they're Cocoa Chatting when they're just chatting about chocolate. Not the person they're talking to. And I'll tell you why I know that. Because on my Promote with Passion, when they say I did a Cocoa Chat, and I'll say, well, what was her response to the opportunity? Well, we're going to talk more about it later. Then she didn't do a Cocoa Chat.
Right.
Because a Cocoa Chat is really an interview. In my past life, we called it an interview. And that's where I think most companies call it. You're interviewing someone for a position. Even though it's an independent position, our goal at a Cocoa Chat is to learn about them, See if they match what we're looking for. And the good news is we can find a match in everyone. Let them know what we're offering. Share what it takes to be successful. Tie all of that together and then offer them the job. Right? If you really think about, if you do a Cocoa Chat right, you walk in, you should be doing less talking. They should be doing more. You should be asking questions. You go to a good interviewer for a job, they're going to ask you a lot of questions. They're going to learn about you, what you're looking for, what, really not what you're looking for, but what your skills are. What do you bring to the table? What have you done in your past that makes you more qualified? Okay? Then they're going to take that information and they're going to tie it. And that's the goal with these, is to teach people. You start the food. You're supposed to learn about their family, their organizations, their occupations, and their dreams. Unfortunately, we have to dig a little deeper than that. You know, we can't go, tell me about your family, tell me about your organizations, tell me about your, but I'm telling y'all, we have chocolatiers that do that. Y'all know that, right? That's how they do it, because they're literal. I know, Ricky, you're cringing. But this is why they don't stick.
I don't deal well with people that aren't smarter than the average bear. I'm sorry.
Well, you're going to have to learn. You got to get some counseling, girl, because most that join us in the beginning aren't smarter than the average bear.
I'm like, oh.
But they do. So we need to teach them and I'm a real believer that people do better when they understand the why behind the how. So they get the how, and you're supposed to ask questions to learn about it. Why do you do that? Because you're going to be tying that information from the very beginning throughout the Cocoa Chat to why this is good for them and how it's going to work for them. So we go through this, and I ask her how much money she wants to make, how much time she feels she has to invest in the business. Does she want to make, if she knew she wouldn't fail and she trusted me to lead her, would she want to make part-time money, full-time money, or big-time money? And remember, you've got to put that piece in. If you knew you wouldn't fail and you trust I can guide you, how much money would you want to make? Part-time, full-time, or big-time? A lot are going to tell you big-time. And I tell them part-time is 1 to 2 parties a week on time slots. Full-time is 2 to 3. Big-time is 3 to 4. Why do I tell them that many? Because if I tell them it's 1 a week, I'm going to be lucky to get 1 a month. I want them to pick out 2 time slots a week, because also they need to have flexibility, right? So I go through the Cocoa Chat. At the end, I say, well, Ricky, this sounds like it's a perfect fit. You're wanting to make big time money. You feel like you have, 20 hours or so that you can invest into parties every week. Let's do this right now so we know how that's going to look. And I pull out my blank calendar. And I start out by saying, Ricky, is there any day of the week that you cannot work? And Ricky tells me Tuesday. Then I say, is there any time you don't want to work? Or is there anything you go to church or whatever? And she tells me she can't work Sunday mornings. Well, so Ricky, if I block off every Tuesday and Sunday mornings, when would you like your 4 work time slots to be? Now, remember, we're looking for about 3-hour time slots outside the home. So Ricky tells me she wants to do Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and every other Saturday. So I say to Ricky, okay, well, when you don't work Saturday, when do you want your 4th time slot to be? Ricky tells me she wants it to be on Sunday. So now she knows she has every other Saturday and every other Sunday completely off, and every Tuesday. But what that does for me, and you're going to see this in the video as I role play it, is now let's say it was Wednesday when I did the Cocoa Chat. I can say, okay, so we want to get you started so you're making money right away, Ricky. So next week, because I want to have you have a couple of days to invite everybody, your work schedule is Monday night, Wednesday day, Friday night, and you're off on or Sunday. Which of those time slots do you want to hold your lunch party in? Because she just set her schedule. I didn't set it. I didn't try to push it into 10 days. She set her schedule. So in this scenario, she chose Monday, and I said, okay.
So okay, I'm going to interject, because realistically, I'm thinking that the person's going to say, well, my gosh, I can't do it next Monday.
Then what would you like to do for your work on that Monday, Ricky? Why couldn't you do it? Your friends know more what they're doing this Monday than they do next Monday. They probably know.
Okay. I'm just looking for what you would say. I mean, I say that, but they just feel like they need, I know they don't. I'm just trying to figure out how to convince them they don't.
But here's the worst case scenario. Then the furthest you put it out is the next Monday. Instead of them wanting to go home, think about it, and then not getting back to you. So worst case scenario, you're out 14 days instead of 21 or 25.
Got it.
Actually, it was only like 11 days if they go that far instead of 5. 12 instead of 5, I think, or something like that. So then I say, well, Ricky, this Saturday would actually be a work Saturday because we have you scheduled off next Saturday. And I actually have a party at 10 and at 1. Which one would be best for you to do your training at? And the whole time I'm saying on your work schedule, because she just chose her schedule. At the top, I've got what she wants to do with her money. She wants to pay $1,500 towards her debt, and anything she makes over that goes towards her family and her husband, her kids. So now when her husband says, well, when are you going to do this? Well, this is when I'm going to do it. See these? And he's going to see all the time off. And that helps to make it real. And then when she says, I have to work this Saturday morning, I'm going to my first training. Why? Because that's what I chose. But next Saturday, I'm off. And it really creates a true reality for them of what a schedule really looks like. Now, in this case, she could have every other full weekend off because she could work Saturday and Sunday one week and have the next Saturday, depending on if she considers her week starting on Monday or Sunday. You know what I mean? But what it does is now when she leaves, I challenge her because she's going to be calling people to invite to her launch. She needs to fill Wednesday and Friday also, and the next Monday and the next Wednesday. So and that time, by the time I get to her launch, I don't know of anyone, maybe 2 people that have ever used all 8 of their Miss Brown books. And that's silly because 8 parties in 45 days is only 1 party every 5 days. It's really almost like 1 party a week. And that is, in a new business, if you're not going to work 1 day a week, but it's not because they're not going to work, it's because they're not holding their launch till day 21 or 25 from the day they join. And then they've only got 20 days left, and trying to do 7 parties in 20 days feels too overwhelming, especially because they don't book the first one after their launch till day 35. And now they have 10 days to put 7 parties in. So we have to set that expectation. So, Karen, you made a comment. I feel like a brand new, like I got to be brand new again. I don't think there's a better place you can be. Sometimes becoming brand new is the best thing we can, is to put out every way we used to do it. Now, if your
I agree.
If your personal party, I'm not saying I should say everything that's not working. And I think all 3 of you would agree what you're doing and building your team right now is not working. Ricky's got some good stuff going right now, but Ricky's probably had to make some changes in her team. Jen just shared with us she's got some really good stuff going in her personal business. Don't change that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But change what's not working. Remember, I think last week we talked about the big calendar with your parties and their parties. See, now it makes it even more reasonable why you need this. Because now when I sit down and I do my before and after calls, I know her schedule. Whether I just write it down, she's going to, when I leave, I'm going to write down her schedule is Monday evenings, Wednesdays, afternoons, Fridays, and every other Saturday and every other Sunday. So I can have little dots, and when I'm talking to her, know, hey, she's got some openings in there. And that'll help me. Do you think I really think they're all going to hold 4 parties every week? No, I am not that stupid. So Ricky, I'm smarter than the average bear.
I know you are. I wouldn't be spending my time on a call with you. But
what it does is, if I have 4 time slots, I can push her to 2 and 3 a week a whole lot easier than when I'm talking to her and hearing her excuses every week of why they can't put the parties on their book because their kid has this birthday party and this is happening because they designed their own work schedule. I had nothing to do with it. Did you notice? First thing I asked her, is there a day of the week you don't want to work? What boss ever asked you that? That shows that she's in control. But it doesn't lower my expectation because she's counting on me. I don't want to be that person that leaves our business that they say, well, I was on Lori Lambert's team, but I never made any money. That's a bad reflection on me. And guess what? It wasn't my fault. And I want them to be highly aware. And if you do this with someone and they say, I never made any money, they can't say that and look someone straight in the eye because they know they didn't work their schedule. And I ask people all the time when they say, I was in a business before and I didn't make any money. I'll say, well, that sounds really impossible. In fact, it's against the law. If you sell the product, they have to pay you. Did they not pay you? Well, I really didn't do any parties. Oh, so you didn't do the business, you bought a kit. There's a big difference, right? And
that's like saying I didn't go to work, right, but I want to get paid.
Right. And I literally,
that happened.
I can't tell you how many times I've called people on that. And I've actually said it in my Ask Me Questions About My Job when people say, well, I've had friends do this and they didn't make any money. And I said, well, then you didn't have friends do this. You had friends buy a kit. And that's one of my pet peeves. So don't ever tell me someone did the business and didn't make money because that's against the law. And I have literally said that many times because I want people to realize anyone that does this business gets paid for it based on what they do. Now, they may embezzle from themselves and never put the money in the bank and put it all on their credit card and then go, well, I have all this debt. Well, I'm sorry you bought milk and bread and filled your car up with gas and didn't pay for your product on your credit card. That's not my fault either. That's actually called embezzlement. You know, and I've said that to people before. So I think, though, setting that expectation, do you see we're setting and having them do this? And here's the thing. So at this Coco Chat now, you've done the Coco Chat. So let's say you've given yourself 30 minutes to do a Coco Chat. With all the added extra I just talked about, the schedule, planning their launch, and giving them direction, at the most, you have only added another 30 minutes. And you were going to have to do 20 of that anyway by doing her host coaching. So you've only added 10 minutes. Think of the value that you've gotten out of that hour versus trying to chase them down later to host coach them, chase them down later to get their date, for heaven's sake. That's usually the hardest part. Chase them down to create a schedule with them, which would be done if you're doing one-on-one quick start kickoff. But if you're not doing one-on-one, you can't do everybody's schedule. It's hard. Well, you can, but it can get kind of harried. You've done all of that in 1 hour, and you've only added 10 minutes to your time that you were planning on anyway. There's 30 minutes for the Coco Chat and 20 minutes for the hostess coaching. Because that, and again, you're going to say, I'm going to hostess coach you, and I want you to pay real close attention because you're going to be doing this with your people. So you're going to be asking her questions through that. You're not going to just hostess coach her. You're going to hostess coach train her. And now you have a chocolatier. Now, I have to tell you, Karen, I was so proud of Melanie. So after Melanie, we went through the value performance thing. I'm taking them through this in fact, it was Melanie who I did this with, Karen. Now that I think about it, that's who you'll see on the video doing this with me. And I was so proud of her because she said she took the value performance stuff very seriously. And she said,
I gotta hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I'm gonna be over for a minute. I'll be right back.
Are we gonna listen for a flush?
Lori, at the end of the call, do you just want to stay on the Zoom and do ours?
Sure.
Okay.
Are you back, Karen? Karen! Karen! All right, I'm going to have to go ahead and talk about it because we're going to run out of time. So I'll send the video to all of you. So the exciting thing was here I was working with a group of strong leaders that I really feel can be our next kind of crop of managers. And it was Melanie Rotolo, Samantha wasn't on, but she normally is, Annette Entz, Rachel Gonay. Who else was in that group? Anyway, a really strong, very strong group. And the coolest thing that came out of this was at the beginning, I asked them to share how they had applied what we did last week over the week and how it had helped their business. And what I really like, so Melanie goes, you know, I have a girl that seriously can keep me on the phone for an hour and then not do what I tell her to do. And then she'll call me back a week later and keep me on the phone for an hour and not do what I tell her to do. And it's definitely, so she said, when she called me this time, I said, I'm really busy right now, but I have a party on Saturday and we'll have an hour drive there, the party, and an hour drive back, and I can answer all your questions and we'll have lots of times to spend together. And she said, and Laurie, she chose not to go, so she will no longer get any of my time. And that is so freeing if we can do that ourselves, but we can only do that if we know we've set the expectation and we've provided the training in the past to be able to say that confidently. It can't be that we've told them where to go find things or what path is being held when it's that personal investment we've got to spend in that first 45. I'm a true believer. At the end of 45 days, you pretty much know. Unless they just have some kind of weird situation, family situation, death in the family, something like that. But honestly, if someone doesn't get going for 45 days, again, it doesn't mean they're not ever going to get going, but most 90% of the cases are going to be belongers. And those belongers trick us into that word steady Eddie. And our business is like a flower. It either grows or it withers. And that means, why is our business like that? Because our business is made up of people that either grow or they wither. Very few people in this industry just maintain. They either start to die, raise back up, go back down, or they grow, or they do this. But very few people do this. Think about it. Who do you know really that's done this? Think about your own businesses. You've either done this, or you've done this. Because that's the nature of the business. It's what it does. And like I said, there's exceptions to every rule, right? Sometimes you're going to earn a trip for two. Sometimes you're going to trip for one. If you're earning a trip for two and the next year you're going to trip for one, your business did this. You have to admit it. And it doesn't matter the situation. The good news is it's okay. Because, Jen, you're a perfect example. You'd earned a trip for two in your past. You had some things come along, but you back and got it again this year. Right? You're on mute. But anyway, so my point being, it's nobody, if you look at a heart monitor and it's doing this, what does it mean?
Means you're dead.
Guess what? Same in our business. If your business is doing this, you're really dead.
So you're saying it's better that it does this?
It's best if it does this. But here's the thing, if it's doing this, Jen, at least it's coming back up. A heart monitor does that, doesn't it? So it's better if you go down, you're taking it back up. But if you are trying to do this, it's not gonna happen. Now, that doesn't mean if you sold $30,000 this year, you can't say, well, if I sell $30,000 next year, I'll be happy. That's not really this, because you've still got to be doing things to get to that 30,000. But no one just sits. You're not going to have a chocolatier that every single month, bar none, sells $200 or $100. Now, you might have 1,000, but it's going to be 1,020, 1,080, 1,000, 1,500, 1,200. It's never exactly flat. That business is still doing that. It's just doing it above a line that keeps her breathing. $100 or $200 doesn't really keep you breathing. It's not worth the trouble. If it was worth the trouble, then why do people wait till they're about to get kicked out of the business because they don't have 606 months and then they try to go scramble? Why wouldn't they just sell 100 every month? Because it's not worth the paycheck. $25 showing up is just not worth it. So we want to keep them. Now, we'll take them as long as they stay breathing. We'll keep them. I always tell people 200 people selling $100 is $200,000.
Yes, if they're actually selling it, but people who are just sitting on my timeline are just wasting lines.
But they're not. Why do you even look at them? That's why you do a value performance sheet and you only look at the people up here. You let that timeline own you, not nobody but you. And so that's why I don't. Do you think I go and I pull manager reports? Heavens no. Do you know how depressed I would be at times? I mean, really honest. Leader reports, I look at who's on above my value line. There are probably leaders, I don't even know their name anymore. I don't know whether they've come or gone because they never did anything. Why do I care? I had someone tell me, I go, that name doesn't even ring a bell. I seriously said that yesterday. Because that means when
Hopefully it wasn't Ricky going.
No, it was a leader, I promise. That means because here's the same thing. If I call you and I congratulate you on becoming a leader and I get no response, even if I get your voicemail, thank me for calling you, right? I don't even care if it's in a text message. Acknowledge that I called you. If I
kind of like when I send you something, acknowledge you got it.
If I send you, if I invite you to leader training, new leader orientation, respond. Tell me if you can't come. I didn't say you were going to get kicked out of the leader club if you didn't come. I invited you to something. So now that's one. That's 2 times I've reached out. Okay. Then when you don't come, I always send I miss you. And then I send either a Facebook message or a text with the video of it because I want you to have the information. And I don't want you to ever be able to say, Lori didn't give me that.
Now, do you think that is becoming more of because it's not just our business where people just aren't responding. Do you think that's just becoming more of a people fault?
I think people that care will always respond.
Okay.
I think it's rude, personally.
I'm just wondering because I had a male host last Saturday and he was like, I personally called and, left messages and people didn't even respond. I don't even know what to do with it. And I'm like, it's more and more.
You're not really a good friend then. I mean, that's really what it is. It's just rude. I know we're out of time, but after 4 or 5 times, I'm done. They get what I put on my Facebook. This is a person that is supposed to be a leader. I might give a new chocolatier 6 or 7, but once you get to leader, I give you 4 or 5 personal reach outs. And after that, you go to low value and you get emails, Facebook, that's it. Until you start breathing life again. And if you got to leader, it's not my job to breathe life into you. You know enough to get there. I mean, breathing life might be a $600 a month. That would show me they're breathing life, but until then, and I'm not going to send them a dozen roses, but I might text good job, but I probably won't even do that, but, you know. And I don't text them when they get paid at title, congratulations. That is their job to get paid at title. They're about to lose title and they don't get paid at title, they're not getting a congratulations from me. They get a congratulations when they're paid at title 3 and 4 and 5 months in a row. Because that means they're putting forth effort. And I know I sound like a hard ass, but I'm going back to the old Lori that was producing a whole lot more in the past, and because I'm setting expectations. And I want people, I'm tired. I've been at this company 4 years, and I'm tired of not having 10 or 15 people making 6-figure income. So I'm going to find some people, or at least 10 or 15 that are making 50,000. And I think it's because we don't expect enough. And I think I was telling someone the other day, I feel guilty because of some comments that were made early on when I came to this business of how they wanted it defined. I let go of my hard assness. And so if you're mimicking my behavior, you're mimicking a person that's pussyfooted around, and that's not who I am in business. I'm like Ricky, I don't have time for that. Tell me what to do and go do it and find it. And you know what? When you find one, it's really interesting because they see that it doesn't matter how much success Ricky has or Jen has. The person's going to follow the people on your team that are having success. You've got to create that person. And then they think, oh, wow, Ricky taught her, she can teach me. Then you get that one. So now you have 2 following, then 2 more jump in. Now you have 4 following, then you got 8 following, and it starts to multiply itself. But the only way we get those people is to set the expectation and run fast with them. But once they start making excuses, you better start looking for the next person and not expect them to be a steady Eddie. Let them be a steady Eddie for as long as you can keep them, but don't count on it. Because it seems like all your steady Eddies always drop off at the same damn time. Right?
Perfect. So I'm going to let you 2 continue, and I got stuff to do.
All right. Talk soon. I hope everybody's not just like pissed off as hell at me now.